So for Monday's video, I thought that a PowerPoint about number lines would be the most helpful. So here we've got a number line that goes from 0 to 1000. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 intervals. So if we divide 1000 by 10, that means each interval is worth 100. So point A is at 100. Point B, 200, 300, 400. Point C then is 600 and point D is 900. Okay, so now we've got some more number lines. They all start with 550, but they all end in with different numbers. So the first one goes from 550 to 650 and we've got to label the midpoint. So between 550 and 650 is 100. So half of 100 is 50. So the middle there would be 600. On the next one, we're still starting at 550, but this time we're only going up to 570. So the difference between these 2 points is now only 20. So halfway between 550 and 570 is 560. For the last one on this slide, we're starting at 550 again, but this time we're going up to 750. So the difference between the 2 points on the number line is actually now 200. So to go in the middle, we'd need to have half of 200 is 100, so it's 650. On here, we've got another number line. This one goes from 700 to 800, and we need to find the letter that represents 730. So we've got 700 to 800 and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 intervals again. So those 10 intervals are taking us up by 100. So 100 divided by 10 is 10. So each interval now represents 10. So to find 730, 710, 720, 730. So it's C that represents 730 on that particular number line. Now we've got another number line. We've got a start point of 100, but we don't know what it's going up to. What we do know is each division is 50. So to find the number that's labelled by that arrow, we need to count up in 50s. So 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. So on here now, we need to look at this number line that goes from 100 to 400. And we need to add an arrow which would show us where 350 would be on that number line. So from 100 to 400 is 300 and we've got 3 intervals. So if we divide 300 by 3, each one is 100. So 200 will go there, 300 will go there. So 350 is halfway between 300 and 400. So 350 is halfway along that part of the number line. Now we've got a number line we don't know where it starts and we don't know where it ends, but we do know where 300 is on there and where 400 is. We've also got a letter that's labelled M. The question asks us if we think that 200 is a good estimate for what M would be worth on that number line. So if 300 is here and 400 is there, then that amount of space on the number line shows us 100. So 200 would be that far below 300, so it would be about there. So M is not a good estimate for 200. So Rochelle's drawn a number line and it starts at 600 and it goes to 640. Her friend Alistair has drawn a different number line with the same midpoint. So what could the start and end points of his number line be? So if we're looking for the midpoint here, halfway between 600 and 640 would be 620. So we could have a different number line with 620 in the middle, because we could have 610, 620, 630. So we could have started at 610 and gone to 630, and we would still have had 620 in the middle of that number line. We could also have 520 and 720, so 620 would be in the middle, and then we would go 100 either side of it. So Josie has drawn this number line, but she's forgotten to put what the end point is. She knows that the increments go up in tens, and she also knows that 320 was on her number line, but 450 was not. So what could the end of her number line be? So what we can do is try using different intervals. So if we make the interval to be 10, it will be 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250 and 260. That wouldn't work because 320 is not on that number line. If we change it and go up in 20s, 200, 220, 240, 260, 280, 300 and 320. So that would work. 320 is on it, but 450 is not. So that number line has an end point of 320. If we look at another one and go up in 30s, 230, 260, 290, 320, 350 and 370, we've gone up in 30s, we have got 320 on there, but not 450. So the end point of that number line is 370, and that would fit with what Josie has drawn. Another one, if we go up in 40s, again 320 is on there, but 450 is not. So she could also have gone up in 40s. The next one goes up in 50s. This time there's no 320, but there is a 450. So Josie must not have gone up in 50s on her number line. So we could have gone up in 20s, 30s or 40s to give an end point of 320, 380 or 440. Aislinn has now got some number lines that she's placed a number onto, and she's used an arrow to put a number on there. She's saying that she has put the same number on both of those number lines. So if we look at the top one, we're going from 200 to 300. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, we've got 10 intervals, so it's going up in tens, 210, 220, 230. That's 240 that she's marked on that number line. If we then look at the bottom one, it goes from 230 to 250. She's marked halfway. Halfway between those two numbers is 240. So Aisling is correct. She's put the same number on the number lines, but because they go up in different amounts, they're in different places.